Chapter 1. Why anger controls so many lives. Most people do not realize how much of their life is ruled by anger. Not loud anger, not dramatic rage, but the quiet kind. Irritation, resentment, being bothered, the subtle tightening in the chest when someone says the wrong thing, looks at us the wrong way, or fails to meet our expectations. Anger has become so normal that we rarely question it. We call it being human. We call it having emotions. We even defend it. I had a right to be angry. But the Stoics saw something clearly that we often miss. Anger is not strength. Anger is not honesty. Anger is not power. Anger is loss of control. It is the moment your inner peace is handed over to someone else. And most of the time, we give it away without a fight. Anger is not caused, it is chosen. Here's a difficult truth, and also a freeing one. No one makes you angry. People act. Words are spoken. Events happen. But anger arises only when a mind judges what happened as an insult, a threat, or an injustice. Two people can experience the same situation. One remains calm. The other burns inside. The difference is not the event. The difference is the meaning attached to it. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that emotions do not come from reality itself. They come from the story we tell ourselves about reality. Anger is a reaction to an interpretation, not the truth. And because interpretations can change, anger is not inevitable. Why we are so easily bothered. We live in an age of constant stimulation. Messages, opinions, criticism, comparison. Everywhere we turn, something is demanding a reaction. And when the mind is constantly reacting, it becomes weak. We are bothered because we expect people to behave a certain way. We expect life to be fair. We expect respect, understanding, validation. When those expectations are broken, anger rushes in to defend the ego. But here is the Stoic perspective. The world does not exist to protect your comfort. Other people are not responsible for your inner state. And expecting them to be is the root of endless frustration. Anger gives the illusion of power. Anger feels powerful in the moment. The voice becomes sharper. The body fills with energy. The ego feels justified. But this is an illusion. Anger does not give control. It takes it away. In anger, you say things you regret. You think less clearly. You hand the steering wheel of your mind to impulse. The Stoics believe that true power is self-command. The person who remains calm while others lose control is not weak. They are free. You pay the price for every outburst. Anger rarely harms the person it is aimed at. It harms the one who carries it. It drains energy. It clouds judgment. It leaves residue in the mind long after the moment has passed. The Stoics ask a simple question. Why punish yourself for the mistakes of others? Why let someone else's ignorance, rudeness, or immaturity disturb your peace? To live angrily is to live at the mercy of external things. To live calmly is to reclaim ownership of your inner world. A different way is possible. Imagine a life where insults fall flat, annoyances lose their grip, other people's behavior no longer controls your emotions. This is not emotional numbness. This is emotional mastery. The Stoics did not seek to suppress emotion. They sought to understand it. And understanding anger is the first step toward dissolving it. In the next chapter, we will explore the most important Stoic realization of all, that nothing outside of you has the power to disturb you unless you allow it. Chapter 2. You are not hurt by events, only by meaning. There is a sentence from Stoic philosophy that changes everything once it is truly understood. It is not what happens to you that disturbs you. It is how you interpret what happens. This idea is simple, but living it takes practice. Most people believe their emotions are automatic, unavoidable reactions to the world. Someone insults them, they feel angry. Someone ignores them, they feel hurt. Something goes wrong, frustration appears. It feels natural. It feels justified. But the Stoics asked a deeper question. What happens between the event and the emotion? The answer is meaning. The space between event and reaction. An event occurs. A word is spoken. A look is given. A message is not returned. In that brief space, often less than a second, the mind adds a story. They disrespected me. They should know better. This isn't fair. I don't deserve this. That story becomes belief. The belief becomes emotion. The emotion becomes behavior. Anger does not arrive fully formed. It is constructed. And anything that is constructed can be taken apart. Nothing has meaning until you give it one. A harsh truth, and also a liberating one. Events are neutral. They carry no emotional weight on their own. A sound is just vibration. A sentence is just air moving through vocal cords. A message unread is just silence. The suffering begins when the mind decides, this is an attack. This is humiliation. This is unacceptable. The Stoics believe that peace begins when you learn to separate what happened from what you believe it means. This is not denial. This is clarity. Why anger feels so convincing? Anger feels justified because the mind convinces itself it is protecting something important. Pride, identity, ego. When anger appears, it usually says, if I don't react, I am weak. If I don't defend myself, I will be disrespected. If I let this go, I lose. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. The one who controls their reaction controls the situation. The one who reacts emotionally has already lost. Reframing, the Stoic tool that changes everything. The Stoics practice something radical. They question their first impression. When something triggered them, they asked, is this truly harmful? Is this within my control? Is this worth the disturbance of my mind? Often the answer was no. Not every insult deserves your energy. Not every inconvenience deserves your anger. Not every misunderstanding deserves a reaction. Most things lose their power when examined calmly. Freedom begins with this realization. Once you understand this, something shifts. You stop saying, "They made me angry." You begin saying, "I allowed this to disturb me." And in that moment, power returns to you. Because if you allowed it, you can also withdraw permission. This is not about blaming yourself. It is about reclaiming authority over your inner life. You are not a slave to circumstance. You are not a prisoner of other people's behavior. You are the interpreter. And the interpretation is always yours to choose. A quiet practice. The next time something bothers you, pause, do nothing for a moment, and silently ask yourself, what am I telling myself about this? That question alone creates space, and in that space, anger begins to dissolve. Chapter 3. Other people are not yours to control. Much of our anger comes from a single silent belief. People should behave the way I expect them to. They should be kinder. They should be more respectful. They should understand me. They should know better. And when they don't, irritation rises. Frustration tightens the chest. Anger begins to simmer. But Stoicism asks a question that dismantles this pattern entirely. Since when did you have authority over other people's minds? The illusion of control. From a young age, we learn to believe that if we explain enough, argue well enough, or react strongly enough, others will change. But life quietly teaches us the opposite. People act according to their upbringing, their wounds, their fears, their limited awareness, not according to your expectations. The Stoics understood this deeply. They accepted a simple reality. You control your judgments. You control your actions. You control your responses. You do not control what others think, how others behave, what others choose. The moment you accept this, anger loses much of its fuel. Why expectations create anger? Anger is often the emotional consequence of unmet expectations. You expected fairness. Life gave chaos. You expected understanding. Someone gave ignorance. You expected respect. Someone gave indifference. But expectations are internal contracts the world never agreed to sign. When you demand that people behave according to your standards, you attach your peace to things you cannot command. Stoicism offers a different approach. Expect human behavior to be flawed, not cynically, realistically. When you stop being surprised by human imperfection, you stop being constantly offended by it. Compassion without attachment. Letting go of control does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means understanding. The Stoics viewed ignorance as the root of most harmful behavior. People act poorly not because they are villains, but because they do not know better or do not know how to act differently. When you see this clearly, anger softens into distance. Not emotional distance, mental distance. You stop taking everything personally. Why try and control others exhausts you? Every attempt to control others costs energy. Explaining, arguing, defending, replaying conversations in your head. And yet, nothing truly changes. The Stoics believe this energy is better invested inward, into character, clarity, and self-command. You grow stronger not by correcting the world, but by mastering yourself. A Stoic shift that changes everything. Instead of asking, why are they like this? Ask, why does this bother me? That question turns irritation into insight, and insight turns anger into growth. Peace is found in acceptance, not resistance. The world will continue to be unpredictable. People will continue to disappoint. Mistakes will continue to happen. But your suffering does not have to continue. You are not here to manage other people. You are here to live well. And living well begins when you stop demanding control over what was never yours. Chapter 4. Anger weakens you before it hurts anyone else. Anger feels powerful in the moment. It sharpens the voice. It stiffens the posture. It creates the illusion of strength. But the Stoics saw through this illusion. They understood something most people learn too late. Anger does not punish others. It punishes the one who holds it. The hidden cost of anger. Every time anger appears, something is lost. Clarity, judgment, dignity. The mind narrows. Perspective shrinks. Impulses take control. In anger, we speak without wisdom. We act without foresight. We react instead of choosing. And once the moment passes, what remains is not power, but regret. The Stoics believe that no external offense is worth the internal damage anger causes. Anger is a momentary madness. To the Stoic mind, anger was not just an emotion, it was a form of temporary insanity. Why? Because anger convinces you that immediate reaction is necessary, harshness is justified, restraint is weakness. But wisdom teaches the opposite. The calm person sees more. The calm person hears more. The calm person acts with intention. True strength is quiet. Why anger never solves what it touches. Anger promises resolution, but delivers chaos. It does not fix misunderstandings. It does not earn respect. It does not create lasting change. At best, it silences. At worst, it escalates. The Stoics asked, if anger truly worked, why does it need to return again and again? Because it never addresses a root. It only feeds a fire. The dignity of self-control. Stoicism placed enormous value on dignity. Not pride, not dominance, but composure. To remain steady when provoked is not submission, it is mastery. When you refuse to be dragged into emotional chaos, you communicate something powerful without saying a word. I am not governed by impulse. This quiet authority unsettles more than anger ever could. You become like what you resist. There is another cost to anger that is rarely noticed. When you fight anger with anger, you become the very thing you dislike. The Stoics warned against this. Do not let another person's lack of discipline become your own. Do not mirror chaos. Do not absorb poison. You do not rise above conflict by engaging in it. You rise above it by refusing to be shaped by it. A choice hidden in every trigger. Every moment of irritation contains a choice. You can react and feel justified, or you can pause and remain sovereign. The Stoics trained themselves to choose the second path, not because it was easy, but because it was free. Chapter 5. Detachment without coldness. When people hear the word detachment, they often misunderstand it. They imagine indifference, emotional distance, a hardened heart. But Stoic detachment is none of these. It is not about shutting down feeling. It is about choosing where feeling is invested. The Stoics did not seek to become unfeeling. They sought to become uncontrolled by feeling. There is a difference. Why attachment creates suffering? Much of our anger comes from attachment. Attachment to how people should behave. Attachment to being understood. Attachment to being respected. Attachment to outcomes. When reality fails to match attachment, frustration arises. The Stoics observed this pattern and asked, why attach your peace to something you do not control? Detachment is not withdrawal from life. It is liberation from unnecessary suffering. Caring without clinging. Stoic detachment allows you to care deeply while remaining inwardly steady. You can love without possession, support without expectation, listen without absorbing emotional chaos. This is strength. When someone is rude, detachment says, this is their state, not mine. When someone is unfair, detachment says, I do not need to carry their disorder within me. Compassion does not require participation in another person's turmoil. Seeing people clearly, not personally. The Stoics trained themselves to see others realistically, not emotionally. They understood. People act from habit, from pain, from fear, from ignorance. When you truly see this, anger softens. You stop asking, why would they do this to me? And begin understanding. This is how they move through the world. Clarity replaces resentment. The inner boundary that protects peace. Detachment is an inner boundary. It says, I will engage with the world, but I will not surrender my peace to it. This boundary is quiet, invisible, powerful. It allows you to be present without being consumed, to listen without reacting, to respond without hostility. Detachment is not avoidance. The Stoics did not avoid difficult conversations or responsibility. They simply refused to carry emotional excess. You can say no calmly. You can disagree without anger. You can walk away without resentment. Detachment gives you clarity, not distance. Ask yourself, what am I gripping that is disturbing my peace? Often, the answer is not a person, but an expectation. Release the grip and watch how the mind settles. Chapter 6. Training the mind to remain calm. Calm is not a personality trait. It is a trained response. The Stoics understood something most people never learn. You do not become calm by wishing for it. You become calm by practice. The mind, left untrained, reacts automatically. It rushes to judgment. It clings to offense. It magnifies small disturbances into emotional storms. Stoicism offers a different path. Daily mental conditioning. The Stoics train the mind the way athletes train the body. Every day, they prepare for difficulty before it arrived. Marcus Aurelius began his mornings reminding himself, "Today, I will meet rude people. I will meet arrogance. I will meet ingratitude. Not to become bitter, but to become ready." When you expect challenges, they lose their power to shock you. Surprise is fuel for anger. Preparation dissolves it. The pause between stimulus and response. Anger lives in immediacy. Calm lives in the pause. Stoic practice teaches you to insert space between what happens and how you respond. A breath, a moment, a silent question. Is this within my control? Most things are not. That single pause prevents countless emotional mistakes. Reframing through reason. The Stoics did not argue with emotions. They reframed the situation. Instead of, "They disrespected me," they asked, "Is disrespect harming my character or only my pride?" Instead of, "This shouldn't be happening," they said, "This is happening. How shall I respond wisely?" Reason is not suppression. It is redirection. Voluntary discomfort. One of the most powerful Stoic exercises was voluntary discomfort. Cold water, simple meals, temporary inconvenience. Why? To train the mind to realize, I can endure this. When discomfort becomes familiar, irritation loses its urgency. A person who knows they can endure becomes difficult to provoke. Nightly reflection. At the end of each day, Stoics reflected quietly. Where did I lose control? Where did I remain steady? What can I do better tomorrow? Not with guilt, but with honesty. This reflection turns mistakes into training. Calm is a habit. Calm is not achieved once. It is built gradually, through preparation, through pause, through reflection. Each small victory strengthens the mind, and one day you notice something powerful. Things that once angered you no longer reach you. Chapter 7. Dealing with difficult people without losing yourself. You cannot choose the behavior of others, but you can choose who you become in response. Stoicism is not about avoiding people. It is about remaining sovereign in their presence. Difficult people will always exist. The question is not how to remove them, but how to remain unshaken by them. See people as they are, not as you wish them to be. Much anger is born from expectation. You expect understanding. You expect fairness. You expect respect. The Stoics taught, expect people to act according to their nature, not your ideals. When someone behaves poorly, they are not breaking a rule. They are revealing themselves. This realization removes surprise. And without surprise, anger weakens. Do not hand over your inner authority. Every time you react emotionally, you give someone control. Epictetus warned, if someone can anger you, they become your master. Ask yourself, why should another person's ignorance rule my inner world? Calm is power precisely because it cannot be taken. Respond, don't react. Reaction is unconscious. Response is deliberate. The Stoic response is measured, brief, and intentional. You do not need to explain yourself, defend your ego, win every argument. Silence, when chosen deliberately, is not weakness. It is discipline. Compassion without absorption. Stoicism does not require cruelty. It allows compassion without absorption. You can understand someone's pain without carrying it. You can acknowledge their emotions without becoming them. Their chaos does not have to become yours. Choose distance when necessary. Not every situation requires endurance. Stoics believe in strategic withdrawal. If someone consistently drains your peace, distance is wisdom, not avoidance. You are allowed to protect your inner order. Remember the ultimate perspective. In the vastness of time, how significant is this irritation? Most conflicts dissolve under perspective. The Stoics often asked, will this matter in a year? In 10? In a lifetime? Usually, the answer is silence. You become the standard. When you remain calm around chaos, you become a mirror. Some will feel exposed. Some will feel challenged. Some will feel inspired. But none will control you. Chapter 8. Becoming unbotherable, the highest Stoic freedom. The ultimate Stoic victory is not dominance over others. It is freedom from disturbance. To be unbotherable is not to be numb. It is to be unshakable. Understand what truly has power over you. Nothing enters your mind without permission. Events are neutral. People are imperfect. Circumstances are temporary. It is your judgment that creates suffering. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Change the estimate, and peace follows. Detach your identity from outcomes. Anger often rises when ego is threatened. Your reputation, your pride, your need to be right. The Stoic dissolves this attachment. You are not your opinions. You are not others' reactions. You are not outcomes beyond your control. When identity loosens, anger loses its grip. Practice inner stillness daily. Calm is not achieved once. It is practice. Each day, return to stillness. Through silence, through reflection, through disciplined thought. This is not escape. It is preparation. Choose peace as a lifestyle. Anger feels powerful, but it is expensive. It drains energy. It clouds judgment. It shortens perspective. Peace, by contrast, multiplies strength. The Stoic chooses peace not because life is easy, but because clarity is priceless. Let go without needing closure. Not every wound requires explanation. Not every conflict requires resolution. Closure is often an illusion. The Stoic closes chapters internally, without needing external agreement. You are no longer easily touched. When you reach this stage, something changes. Insults pass through you. Provocation fails. Chaos loses its pull. You respond from principle, not emotion. This is not indifference. This is mastery. The final Stoic truth. You will encounter anger again, but it will no longer own you. You will feel irritation, but it will no longer command action. You become steady, clear, free, and in a world addicted to reaction, the calm mind becomes rare and powerful. The calm no one can take from you. One day, you will realize something quietly extraordinary, that the world has not become kinder. People have not become wiser. Circumstances have not become easier. You have become calmer. You no longer rush to defend your ego. You no longer explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding. You no longer carry the weight of every careless word spoken in your direction, not because you are weak, but because you are awake. You understand now that anger never punished your enemies. It only punished you. That outrage felt righteous, but left you exhausted. That reacting gave others power they never deserved. So you chose a different path. You chose restraint over impulse, silence over noise, clarity over chaos. And slowly, something changed. You stopped asking, "Why did they do this to me?" And started asking, "Why should this control me?" You stopped handing your peace to strangers. Stopped negotiating your calm. Stopped fighting battles that never mattered. Now, when chaos arrives, you remain steady. When insults come, they fall flat. When provocation knocks, there is no door to open. You have learned the greatest Stoic secret. Nothing outside you deserves authority over your inner world. You still feel, you still care, but you are no longer ruled. This is not indifference. This is discipline. This is not avoidance. This is mastery. And as the world continues to rush, react, and rage, you stand still, unbothered, unmoved, unbreakable, because the calm you carry now is yours and no one can take it from you.